I just seen that Trump is making a change with food stamps. So I think it's requirements, but I think you have to work a minimum of a certain amount of hours in order to get food stamps. And I love that. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be a lot of people living off government assistance, literally never working a job, stacking all their personal bread, and literally living off the government their whole lives. I've been working since I was 16 years old. I go to work every day faithfully, no matter if I was in school, high school, college, and no matter, I always had a job. And the only time I was able to get food stamps was when I was in college. And when I didn't have a job for like 2 months, like when I first like moved back from college. That was the only time I was ever eligible for food stamps. And barely when I was in college, barely, like barely made it. So I feel like this is good. The people who are actually working, putting in the work, putting in the effort, that just need a little bit of boost, just a little bit of help with groceries. Like I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for us. I'm saying us, including me, because yes, need that. Versus people who actually can get up and go through. I'm not even talking about people's grandparents who, you know what I mean, they can't physically get up. They need it. But people who literally can go get up and go work and go make it for themselves, they just choose not to. Like, taking advantage completely. So yes, I'm excited. Hopefully I can give me some. Okay.
So ultimately, what she was referring to, of course, is the rule where people have to work now. Typically in most states, 20 hours a week, basically 80 hours a month, in order to qualify for the benefits, especially if they're able-bodied. And she's saying that that's a good thing. Obviously, she mentioned she would still plan to utilize it, but she likes the rule because she, feels like a lot of people were just getting things for free, I guess, and not working for it. And she's always worked. And I respect that. I will address, I don't think it'd be right if I didn't address the elephant in the room, right? And obviously, she has to know that that definitely draws attention and that draws opinions. And I don't even have to say it because it's just so in your face. For me personally, I think it looks a little bit crazy. That's me, my personal preference. But at the same time, who am I to talk about what looks crazy, right? Because, that's her individuality. And, if she wants to stand out, that's totally fine. But obviously it's for, attention and, to stand out. So you're going to have people commenting on it. But, at least she doesn't have that other thing on her head, so respect to that. She took time to get herself ready for doing the video. So kudos.
Go work and go make it for themselves. They just choose not to. Like, taking advantage completely. So yes, I'm excited. Hopefully I can give me some. Okay.
I got into it with my aunt last week on Facebook about SNAP benefits. She posted, if you have $120 for nails, $180 for extensions, and $320 for lashes, you likely shouldn't be on SNAP benefits. Up here it cut off, but she said exactly. And I read this and I thought, girl.
Some of these people are just so unhinged, yo. Imagine getting into a public dispute on social media with your own family. And she said it was her aunt. So possibly somebody who had a hand in raising her. And she decided, because understand, you can't say that the auntie threw the first stone. The auntie was just posting on her personal page something that she believes in. And then she went over there looking for the smoke. So let's see how this ultimately transpired.
Well, if you don't have the money for glam yourself, just say that. Like,
She's saying it to
if
her
you're
own
jealous
auntie.
that other girls look better than you, there's easier ways, my love. But I commented, I'm like, listen, because let's not get it twisted. This is obviously racially coded, but I was like, white people make up the most amount of SNAP recipients. It's this many people in America. Also, it makes up less than 2% of the federal budget. 16% goes to military contractors and corporations. Pause to read, but basically I just said, like, SNAP fraud is extremely low, such a minuscule amount. Is it really worth negating the experience of the majority of people that are living in poverty and survive? Also, it essentially acts as a subsidy for corporations to pay their employees nothing. And I provided sources for everything just in case. I don't know why I was silly enough to think that she would utilize.
This is why sometimes it's people in your own family that you just have to have nothing to do with. Because if she was in my family, I would have nothing to do with her. You done first you basically called your aunt ugly at the beginning because the hair and nails thing and said if you can't maintain, basically just say that. But then you also called your own aunt a racist because you said that her post was racially motivated. Man, you come at my character like that and you're a family member. I don't want nothing to do with you if that's what you think of me.
Them, but hey, I tried. She responded and said, I'd say more like 50% actually need it. That's the town that she lives in. 2 of my farm helpers are actually on disability and SNAP, and they can work circles around this younger generation. I'm like, okay, well, you need to make less than $15,650 a month to even qualify in Missouri. So think about how much that is a month and what you can get with that much money. So however you determine it is based on your feelings. It's not on facts. And I've actually provided like a bunch of information for you to figure that out. By the way, food is exchanged for money, not work ethic. So it doesn't matter how hard you work. I can say for certain the jobs that I had that paid the lowest required the highest work ethic of me. I made the least. I was working 2 physical labor jobs and going to school and taking public transportation everywhere. But I'm like, you just gave me valuable information. If 2 of your farm hands are disabled and have amazing work ethics and use SNAP, you should be calling your representatives to make sure that they have their benefits because they're going to need to find jobs that they can buy food with. That's why people have jobs, so they can afford to eat, right? This so-and-so that I don't know hopped on and said people work on farms under the table so that their taxable income doesn't exceed the cutoff for benefits. What my aunt was trying to say is that their working ability isn't compromised despite the fact that they're receiving disability. I'm like, you guys just keep feeding me more and more. Well, first of all, you don't know what a benefits cliff is, which is essentially where the second you make $1 over, it doesn't make up for how much money you're losing in benefits, which is why they should make it like a tiered thing. Like as you make more money, you like lose some benefits, but not all of them, et cetera, et cetera. Honestly, put me in office. Like I would fix all this shit so fast. Like you guys would wake up tomorrow and it would be a different place.
No, she wouldn't because it's so complex. See, we have to make things, when you have to get so complex like this, it's not worth it at that point. It's too much. She's trying to make a whole stair step thing. We don't have time for this. Because if people just doing what they're supposed to do and ultimately taking responsibility for themselves, then at that point, we can just completely opt out. We don't even have to really get involved. And that should be the goal. The government shouldn't have to be so involved in your personal affairs.
So now you guys are, because I didn't even clock it before, but I'm like, now you're telling me that you are openly participating in fraud. If someone's concerned, maybe they shouldn't participate. Rules for thee, not for me type vibes. I couldn't see anymore because she blocked me. She responded once, then I responded, then I was blocked, and then she responded again. So I had to text my mom and say, Mom, hit me with the screenshots. So she said, I help family out no matter what, to each his own, it is what it is. Us homesteaders know how to live within our means and have a garden to help with our food. I responded, obviously I don't have a screenshot, but I responded and was like, I don't really know what helping family out has to do with this. Sort of the principle of being in poverty is that you likely don't have land to live off of or like enough time to yield enough food to completely live off of and not need money for it. Like, it's not clocking. But I'm like, also, what would Jesus think about what you're saying? And then I hit her with a classic. Matthew 25:40, and the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did to the least of these my brothers, these brothers of mine, you did for me. And she responded, I'm not going to argue with you, Zoe. I'm so glad you go to church and live a perfect life. Thank you. I love my perfect life. Bible verse is impressive. Grandma Bobby will be so...
Y'all, I can't watch any more of this. She's absolutely insufferable. And you know what's funny? That's literally how you have to treat people like this. People like this who are just life drainers, who just will never stop. You just have to do what her aunt did, and you just have to block her. And you see, she's so extreme on that side of just being a life sucker that she still went and found it and sought it out for somebody who somebody who did not want to be a part of it any longer, you still went out of your way, in order to continue going. And that's what you're dealing with. But, and I could say a million things about this, but I want to hear what you all have to say in the comment section. Y'all like the video. Also subscribe if you want to join the Limitless Legion. Hype the video. It helps smaller content creators like myself to get more visibility. And if you want to buy Boy Ice Coffee, also feel free to Cash App linked in the description. You can tip the channel, and then you can also join the Patreon as well, where I post self-improvement content. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video.